For the past 5 years and the dozens of videos I've made about the Half-Life 2 beta and the projects related to the beta, I always came across a specific mod. Every now and then its name would pop up, I would open its Moddb page, be heartbroken, and be on my way. The thing is, this mod was abandoned back in 2019 and to me it had so much potential. The idea was that the player would go through beta-inspired maps in the Gold Source engine, or in this case, it's the Zash 3D engine, but I'll just call it the Half-Life or Gold Source engine. So, that low poly, low resolution and primitive lighting of the Half-Life engine running Half-Life 2 beta maps never left my mind. It was just nice to look at. The simplification or the demaking of this concept into something like this has always piqued my interest. That is until I saw this comment. And turns out, Shift from the Dark Interval team had a copy of the unfinished mod. And here it was, posted on the Project Beta forums. A mod lost to me, now found. And now, we'll take a look at all the maps and see what could have been. Looking at the map list, I saw that there are around 10 story maps plus some test maps. So let's start from the beginning. The story starts off inside a moving train. We play as Agent Space Biker and our objective is to destroy the cause of the air poisoning. So I'm guessing we're playing as Ivan the Space Biker and we're supposed to destroy the air exchange? Interesting premise to bring back Ivan and put him in this scenario of all things. There's a slowed down voice playing in the background and I couldn't really tell what it was saying apart from a few things. When the train stopped, I couldn't get out so I had no clip and got out that way. Obviously this is a extremely unfinished build, so there's bound to be bugs and stuff like this. And this genuinely looks good. I'm not joking or anything. This is a great way to utilize the comparatively simpler Half-Life engine. The mod heavily relies on detailed interiors rather than giant outdoor scenes. The Gold Source engine by default doesn't have a huge clipping limit, so large maps would have looked strange. Here, the place is mapped in a way that makes sense. But man, if anything, this mod had the right atmosphere going for it. The textures, taken from the leak, mixed with the lighting style is fantastic. It really does capture that beta aesthetic while at the same time giving us some nostalgic late 90s vibes. This is that clipping limit I was talking about. Had they gone for bigger maps, they would have had this issue all the time. Also free TVs. Anyway, so far we're just making our way through these buildings and vents and we need to get into the sewers where someone left some equipment for us. What I love about this or similar mods like this is the brushwork. In Source you can use a library of pre-made 3D models from Half-Life 2 to populate your map, but here you have to create each object using shapes or brushes. Or you can make them into prefabs and reuse them, but you get the idea. So I like that they added in quite a lot of objects like that to detail the maps. Goddamn, every time I come out of an interior area and look outside, it's such a mood. Like I said before, it's the beta feel plus the late 90s nostalgia. Like here with the plaza area and the console cast, it looks beautiful. The scale may be off compared to the original leaked maps from the beta, but it still manages to look awesome. Here in the skybox you can also see the palace building, or at least that's what I think it is. Man, all I have to say here is that this looks amazing and hilarious at the same time. Like, look at that face, man. That's a face who has seen things. Terrible things. This uses a later variation of the map as the early versions of the entrance looked completely different. Inside I saw citizens who were basically Black Mesa scientists but with gas mask citizen clothing plastered onto them. Rough, yes. Charming, very.
I can't access my files. I can't answer my mail. If I'm not able to get my report to the administrator in the next hour, then my job will be in serious jeopardy. And I'll make sure that mine is not the only one.
Stop whining! This is ridiculous! I've got better things to do!
I don't suppose you'd reconsider?
Shut up! Let me think about that!
You could make a sitcom between these two and I'd watch the shit out of it. I love how enthusiastically these people are playing the manhack games, not knowing they're murdering actual people behind the scenes. From here we head to the back of the building and I saw this area. It's nice, it adds some depth to the place. It implies that the manhack arcade is much bigger than we originally think. Slipping into the maintenance area, Ivan dives straight into the dirty sewage and swims to these underground tunnel areas. I'm once again fascinated by the details. There's pipes and vents in the ceilings and railings, barrels, and other small debris like that. It really brings out that nasty sewage experience. I came across a head crab here, and since I had no weapons, I had to run away. I don't think the equipment is here like the one we're supposed to get, but it doesn't matter because here is where the story maps end. The final map has a lot of missing textures and glitches, and you can't really go anywhere from here. I do like this area though, and I'm guessing they must have taken the player to Kleiner's lab or something, or met up with Barney. I tested the weapons just to see what they looked like, and yeah, the HEV suit and the shotgun was different. The rest looked pretty much the same, and if I'm not wrong, that shotgun is from Team Fortress Classic, I don't know. But yeah, this is as far as they had gone. Pretty good progress, honestly. You'll be surprised how many mods not make it past the concept or blockout phase, but these guys had a lot of progress done. Good progress on these maps. Now, let's take a quick look at the test maps. They aren't as interesting, maybe apart from one or two, but I still think we should cover the whole thing. Let's hit it off with a button that brings the lift down. Exploding barrels. They explode and the screen shakes. In this map we have some NPCs. This map is testing this particle effect. This map has a bunch of models doing various animations. This map plays out a sequence, nothing too dramatic, but still, this is a good way to get yourself familiar with how the sequence manager works in Hammer. Now this one was interesting. Here they were trying to test out cube map reflections for the water. This is something I guess Zash 3D brings to the table as one of its modern features. This map just had these two again in it. Sliding doors, wow! This one was hilarious but also interesting. Here they were testing out actual 3D skyboxes, but here it's a red sky with a red metro cop looking in my cube ominously. Jesus Christ, dude, you're scaring me. Vending machines. This one is for testing out various DSP effects, like how sound would propagate in different type of environments. And that's pretty much it. I don't know what the story is behind the development of this mod, how it started, why it ended. I was only able to find this build because of that one comment led me to the forum post made by Shift. But in retrospect, I think this mod had a lot of potential, but I think the scope was its downfall. The scope of the mod must have gotten so out of hand, and game development or mod development is a frustrating endeavor, and when things go from being fun to irritating, yeah, it doesn't end well. I wish they had continued on this, but I can still understand if they quit out of development burnout. The gold certification of the beta maps is something you don't really see a lot in Half-Life 1 mods. The texture work was neatly done, with proper combinations used on different buildings to create a believable city environment. And then the lighting was just on point. Some mods go out of their way to make the things look extra green or dark, but here it was monotonous and ominous, but in a good way. But yeah, this story, like my Skyherb 01 obsession, has finally come to an end. I've finally got my hands on this build, and it closes a chapter I had open for many years. Thanks so much for watching, and a big thanks and shout out goes to these beautiful benefactors. I'll see you in the next one.